Well, it's winter time here.
Winter? Hmm.
Yeah, winter. It's all the signs of winter. We've had Halloween and the time change, and
Yeah, I had the time
oh, it's
change. Yeah.
You had one
starting to
more
get
week
cold.
of summertime than we had. I think you're trying to prolong the good
Oh,
days, but to no avail eventually.
well, it was actually pretty nice. Halloween was really, the weather was warm. There was kids out everywhere. I mean, good Lord, there were children everywhere.
Hmm.
I don't see Jim. I hope Jim didn't get confused over the time.
Oh, yes, he's talking.
Oh, where does he live?
Dominica.
You know, he might have gotten confused on the time then, because the time is US and
I think they do. I think they do New York time.
do they?
Yeah, I don't know. I wonder where Jim is. Don't see him.
Do you have a phone number for him?
No, I don't.
Hmm.
Well, unless he thought the hour didn't actually go back, um, he's working on the old time.
You know, when I sent out the message, I specifically mentioned that.
You
You may
mentioned the shift in time.
correct.
Yeah.
All right. Well, let's see. We don't. So there's just the four of us.
Well, you may get a few more people, but I don't know. Let's see.
Hmm. All right. Well, anybody have any comments about saw the presentation yesterday? Got any comments about that?
I saw a part of it. I didn't see the whole thing. I saw the beginning of where you were talking, Harry, and
Oh, you saw that, huh?
the
Okay.
I had a
beginning.
look at it at double speed, I must
Yeah.
confess.
What do you mean?
Well, you can change the playback speed to 1.5 times the speed or twice the speed. So the whole thing will only last an hour.
Oh,
I did that. But you're speaking very quickly. I might slow it down if I, need to understand something. But I listened to it very quickly. Um,
I was using this, which is I've never tried this before. I didn't know whether it was going to work that well, and it wasn't really that exciting.
an iPad. Mm.
Usually, it doesn't work with my computer. I'm getting a new computer that's supposedly got a faster processor. It's got a Ryzen 7, and it's supposed to be a fast machine. Maybe that'll help. I don't know. Okay, no Jim. I guess Jim got messed up on the time. Um,
I think I vaguely remember, if I'm not mistaken, his coming in about an hour later on a previous occasion when the time changed.
all right. Well, I guess that means you'll show up at 11 o'clock. I had so I've been, just so we fill up the time a little bit. I'm working on a here's Jerry. I'm working on, so I did the talk about what is time, and so I'm working on what is space. And my thesis boils down to that time is kind of a simple thing. I think time's simple because it's just a matter of counting, you know, 1 day, 2 days, 3 days, 4 days, five. I mean, that's pretty simple mathematics, right? But space, when I started looking at it, that's where it gets kind of complicated because the mathematics of space is Euclidean geometry, is what they started out with, Euclidean geometry. And then, of course, in the 19th century, Euclidean geometry got called into question and they invented these new geometries. So that means that geometry is not unique. So which geometry are you going to use to measure space? That's where I think this whole business of general relativity and starts to get kind of messed up a bit, because in order to measure something correctly, you have to know how to measure it. And if you don't know what geometry space is, then that means you can't really measure it correctly. What, you have some comments, Jerry?
Oh, well, I was just simply going to say that I think that time and space exist whether they're measured or not. I mean, you measure them, like a clock ticks, that's like measuring the time. However, though, the time isn't dependent upon the existence of the clock or the universe. I mean, like if nothing exists, I think time would go on. And space, I think, is simply the empty void which exists. I mean, there's all sorts of other theories that imply that it's physical. I don't think it's physical at all, or time.
You don't think space is physical? Is that what you're
Oh,
saying?
no.
What is it instead then?
It's an empty void. It's the absence of something. It's nothing. It's nothingness. It's empty. If there's an ether, the ether exists within space, I think.
Mm-hmm.
Well, I guess Robert, you going to say something about that?
Actually, there are various points to make. Actually, this is sort of interesting. I actually did a thesis at Boston University on the geometry of visual space, which is visual experience. And that turns out to have a non-Euclidean geometry. But I make a distinction between the space of experience and physical space. In physical space, we're not immediately aware of it. We're just immediately aware of our experiences. But I think physical things exist, but we're just, it's all an inference, like we're not immediately aware of atoms or anything. So it's like there are two spaces. One I call phenomenal space, which is a space of experience. And then I would call the other one physical space. I believe in fields. I'm not a big believer in the ether, but if someone wants to call my fields an ether, it doesn't bother me. And whether you can have an empty space without even fields in it, that's a good question. I don't know if I have a strong opinion.
Well, I would say fields exist within the space,
Uh-huh.
within the empty
Within the
space.
space. But could you have a space outside of all the fields?
Oh, like the fields only extend so far, you mean?
Yeah.
Maybe. Well, they probably fade like gravity. Like the further you go out, it's probably still detectable, like very far away. So I don't really know.
Mm-hmm.
If space is infinite, I mean, it seems like it would die down sooner or later.
Yeah, whereas Einstein's space-time, I take it as finite.
Yeah.
And again, I don't have a strong opinion on that, whether space is infinite or finite. And how you'd ever prove it one way or the other, I don't know.
Well, I think there's sort of logical proof that time and space are infinite. I mean, how could they be otherwise? I can't see any conceivable way, personally.
Have you ever read Kant, Immanuel Kant?
Yeah.
Well, he has a series in his uh, Critique of Pure Reason on antinomies, and he gives arguments both that space has to be infinite and it can't be infinite, in the same way with time.
Yeah. I
And
think
different people disagree about which of those antinomies, which side is the stronger. So you can argue both sides of the question.
I think Kant actually says it's absurd to think that that space is infinite. And then
That's
he turns
one
around and
side of the
says it's
antinomies.
absurd to think that space is finite. He thinks that each are absurd.
Yeah, those are the antinomies. Yeah, and people have different side to take different sides on the strength of the arguments. And again, I don't know as I have a real strong opinion.
Okay, when I talked about Aristotle, I'm sort of positive about Aristotle. It seems like he has a pretty good definition of time, but then his definition of space, he doesn't define space, he defines place. And apparently that caused a lot of confusion, because what I've read is there were a lot of commentaries on that. And here's Jim.
Here's Jim.
Do you have any thoughts on that, Bob?
Oh, let's see, with Aristotle, what book of Aristotle's did you look at? I know like he has the categories in space and time are two of the categories. I think he has
Oh,
10 categories and
I'm
Kant has
pretty
12.
limited. I like to use the physics, but
The physics, but there's also the metaphysics, and but
yeah,
the
right.
physics
I know.
itself has a fair amount of metaphysics in it.
All right. Okay, so Jim's here now. Jim, I don't see him. I see his icon, but there's no Jim in the window. So my idea, just you know, as I thought I explained it, and then that part where I said that got cut out by Roger when he edited the video, was that I really intended the talk to be about measurement and physics. In other words, I'm talking about measurement and um, in a physical sort of way, and I was kind of disappointed that Aristotle really, well, the way they refer to Aristotle, he talks about place, he doesn't talk about space. But maybe he talks about geometry. He probably talks about geometry.
Euclid was roughly a contemporary of Aristotle's. I'm not sure whether he's before or after.
Right. I'm kind of the opinion that Euclid kind of messed things up a bit, because of the business of points and the way he defined points and lines and planes. You know, a point has no I'm sure has no
Well,
dimension,
yeah,
right?
no parts or anything. Yeah,
Right.
a
And
line is made up of points, and
right. And I think that messed up things for a while.
yeah.
For
Well,
a while.
you get paradoxes in both directions. You get paradoxes if you give them size. You get paradoxes if you don't give them size.
Well, that's interesting. So I'd like to hear about that if you want to talk about it in the future.
That's probably ties in a little bit with that Jim's talk. I said,
Yeah, I actually got into okay, here we go. Jim's um, screen sharing now. Um, I kind of got interested in Descartes' idea of extension, which I think's kind of interesting, and I think that's been a neglected topic.
oh, it is, but that's in his Principles of Philosophy where he really gets into it. And Descartes did not believe in a vacuum. And
Right.
he has a system that's a little bit like mine. He has these vortices and he allows circular motion in them and stuff. But a lot of people don't even look at his Principles of Philosophy, but he goes into it in some detail.
Yeah, I was going to go. I have this book by Krakauer, I think his name. Are you familiar with this book?
No.
Um, well, it's I think his name is Krakauer or something like that, and he's Descartes, and it's kind of an interesting book, but I can't find it.
Yeah, I
It's
don't
in
know
a
that.
box. It's a box. It's in a box that I can't find. So, but
Yeah, I do know the Principles of Philosophy that only got translated into English in the 1970s.
right, that's
So,
interesting.
yeah.
I'll have to look. I'm not sure whether I have a. Yeah, I think you're right. And yeah, okay.